Look, he's blushing.
Seriously? Okay.
Welcome to This Week with Sheriff Dave Phalen, a weekly program here on LSN Television, Time Warner, Channel 9, right here in Lancaster, and also our friends over at 90.9 WFCO Radio FM, where we have a program that comes to you each and every week on television and on radio, sharing things going on within the Fairfield County Sheriff's Office. And back for the second week in a row is Deputy TJ Strawn with the Fairfield County Sheriff's Office. Good to see you again.
Sheriff, good to be here.
Yeah, we were surprised last time because we didn't really talk too much about what you actually do with the Sheriff's Office. Got kind of sidetracked on a couple of different items. So for the folks that may have missed last week's program, tell us a little bit about what you do with the Sheriff's Office.
I'm assigned through Job and Family Services. I work with our Child Support Enforcement Agency. My job's to go out and find the deadbeat parents that have warrants for their arrest for not paying support. I serve papers for the agency if needed. Provide security in some court hearings if maybe there's a protection order involved, or maybe the parties just simply don't get along, or there's some kind of history there. I do a variety of things for the Sheriff's Office, not only through child support.
Now, within the court system, what happens when someone falls behind on child support procedurally? What are the steps that take place when that happens?
Typically, they'll try to get them served contempt of court papers to get them in the court, get them in front of a magistrate or a judge to find out what's going on as to why they're not paying their support. And then after those procedures typically happen, the contempt of court, they work with you to try to, if need help you find a job, or there's just a variety of programs and services that they have to try to get you to comply with your court order.
So it's not one of the things, they miss a couple child support payments and then you go out and put them in jail.
No,
a lot more to it than that, right?
These are people that are thousands of dollars behind in their support orders, and people that just simply disregard their obligation to pay it.
Is there what's been kind of like the high end that you've seen where people have been behind on their payments?
I've seen up to $40,000, $50,000 arrearages before. Some of them get pretty high. It varies from just a few $1,000s to all the way up to that amount.
Now, what can happen to them when they get that far behind? I mean, what is a typical sentence?
I've seen some people. I've been sent to prison for it. Some just serve a few days in jail, or there may be 30 days or so. And I think the jail time is the last resort that the judges try to use, but sometimes they simply don't have a choice but to do that.
So these people that you've seen over and over again, I think you mentioned last week, a lot of them you see over and over again, same people.
Some are repeat offenders. I serve the warrant, they're arrested. They're supposed to show up for court maybe a few days later, and they don't show up again, so then a week later I have another warrant for them. So then you have to go out and try to track them down again. There's a few people that I know on a first-name basis and know me on a first-name basis, because unfortunately we're always meeting in these circumstances.
Now, today, unlike many years ago where the payments are made directly from the spouse to the typically it's a lady, a woman for non-support. Although you do see it the other way around.
There is. It's both ways. I think the majority of it is the men. The
men behind.
Yeah.
But the payments now go through the court, right?
Well, they go through the Child Support Enforcement Agency.
Okay.
Sometimes, a lot of them, they will submit paperwork to the employer to have them withdraw a holding to the agency, or some people that are maybe self-employed, they're required to actually go to the agency and make the payment there.
Now, are a lot of these people hiding from you?
Get a lot of them. They're
Yeah.
I've camped out many a times when people's they're down the road in a plain car, just because sometimes it's the only way you can get them is when they come out of the house because they just simply won't answer the door. A lot of times the family will hide them. They'll lie to me, that they're not there or they haven't seen them. You get that a lot.
Do you have some that have multiple spouses that they're paying for child
Yeah,
support?
I've seen some people have 4 and 5 cases with each with a different girl, and it's
Well, it's
a
kind of
lot,
it's kind of sad, really, because there is it seems to me an obligation that if you bring a child into this world, that there is certainly an obligation to help pay for that child's uprearing and to take care of some of the financial support and do all this kind of thing. Some of these people really are not very much involved, are they?
some are not at all. Some the parents that I maybe arrest say, well, I haven't seen my child in years, or that may be choice that they made, or it may not be a choice that they've made. But unfortunate thing is, we all have kids. The ones that do have kids, we have to pay for them, and they're not cheap.
And as we mentioned a few minutes ago, most of them are women trying to get child support from husbands. What percentage would be of where the child support is coming from the female to the husband and may have custody?
I would say probably 20% of my cases that are my
Well,
warrants
that
that I serve
surprises
are
me.
women.
That's surprising. I thought it would be far different
So
than that.
I'd say about the 80% are usually are men that I arrest on. So it does go both ways, but I know that the majority of the people that I arrest are men.
And you like your job. You work a lot with Job and Family Services.
It's a good assignment. I really enjoy it.
And sometimes you mentioned that you have to provide security over there, because I would think that this could be a pretty volatile kind of situations when you're dealing with these kind of dynamics.
Anytime, yeah, it's just like it's a domestic thing. Emotions are high. When somebody's personal life is involved with their kids, I think people tend to take that a little more personal. It gets pretty interesting sometimes in there just to listen to the different conversation that some of these people are having back and forth with each other or the magistrate. A lot of times, too, if there's a protection order or maybe a domestic violence case has come into effect, and so basically I'm just there to kind of be the mediator.
You talk about domestic violence. What does a woman need to do if she thinks or she's a victim of domestic violence?
You obviously need to contact law enforcement. I mean, there are laws to protect you from that. You have the Victim Advocate Center that also will help you with whatever you need. There are a variety of programs to assist. I mean, not only women but also men that are battered.
Yeah, I know the Lighthouse will assist as far as protection orders and those kind of things.
Correct. They do a great job. I've always been a supporter of the Lighthouse too. It's a good program to use if you need it.
Yeah, and I think we just encourage people out there to let someone know. I mean, many, many times, as we know, when these people are battered and they're many times in danger, sometimes they're afraid to go to the law enforcement, afraid to notify other family members. But typically, we do not see these things historically getting better. It tends to escalate as time goes on.
I agree with that. A lot of times I think some people, like you said, are afraid to contact law enforcement. They're in fear of the spouse, of what they'll do to them. And I truly believe that, if there is some domestic situation going on, you need to start at it early so it doesn't escalate into something more serious, which we've seen both of us have in our careers.
Now, going back to the child support issue, let's say that and I think we talked about this earlier, procedurally, someone starts falling behind in the court, then they're summonsed in to the magistrate to kind of find out what's going on.
They're summonsed in. Typically, what I suggest to people, and I get this a lot, they'll have a complaint that they're not receiving child support. My advice to you is to contact the CSEA, explain to them the situation. They're the ones that's going to get the process started for you as far as getting the paperwork filed. getting him served, getting him into court, or if need be, just going ahead and filing the criminal charge of non-support. And then that's when I get involved with either serving it or going out and serving the arrest warrant.
Is there any dollar amount, or is there any kind of a time period on this
It's
where
not-
they give them a chance to catch up?
Technically, I mean, by law, you miss one payment, you're in arrearage. It doesn't typically work that way. So there's not really a dollar amount. It's just basically once you become behind or your obligation is not being fulfilled, then they'll look at it case by case and determine whether or not they need to bring you into court or just go ahead and file a warrant for your arrest.
Now, any stories? You know, you've been doing this a long time. You mentioned that you're making 25 arrests a month. And is there any kind of circumstance you can remember where somebody was kind of, ran out the back door, jumped out the window, hid under the desk, you
You'll
name
find them hiding in all kinds of places in the houses. I think one of the main ones that sticks out to me the most is I know it's probably the 5th time I'd arrested this guy, and the guy looks at me and says, "I'm getting tired of seeing you." So quite frankly, I'm getting tired of seeing you. It's not, you just got to try to do the right thing so that we don't have to meet on this situation.
Yeah. Do many of them try to run from the house or hide?
I've had a few run from me. Majority of them, you'll find them hiding in closets, under clothes, couches, anything they can hide under. Some will just come right to the door and say, "Here I am, take me."
Yeah.
Some are much easier than others, but I would say probably the majority of them that I work or that I do serve are they're hiding, or there's a family member will lie for them or something like that. And then, I explain to the family member the consequences if I find out they're there and they're lying to me, what could happen to them. So
there would be, let's talk about that a minute. Let's say that someone comes to the door and they say, hey, they're not here, or they're trying to hide them somewhere. What kind of penalty could that person face?
I mean, you could face a obstruction of justice or an official business charge. They're misdemeanor charges, which could result in jail time, probation. I don't like to do that, but if I have to, then to do my job properly, then I do it. I try to explain to them, the consequences. Try not to make their problem now yours.
Right.
If they're here, let him deal with his problem. Don't get you involved with it also.
Now, how many years have you been over at Job and Family Services?
I'm on my 4th year with
wow.
the assignment. Yeah.
That doesn't seem possible. And I know they think a lot of you. I heard a lot of positive things, and I know you're doing a great job for them.
I think, I hope they're happy. I think they are. I give 100% every day when I come in. I enjoy the assignment that I do, and it's fun, rewarding. It's a good time.
Lots going on.
So.
Well, we're almost out of time. I do appreciate you being with us, TJ Strawn. And I'd like to have you back occasionally, kind of give us an update.
Absolutely.
Have you seen any trends over the 4 years? Are you seeing more cases there? Has it been about the same, or are you seeing kind of a decrease?
I think it's getting busier.
Is it
I
really?
don't know if it's the economy or what it is, but my caseload is, I think it's more than doubled since I've been doing this.
In 4 years?
4 years, easily. Yep.
Wow.
So,
Well,
it's
that could say a lot about the economy, especially if people get out of work and
I think
those type of things.
That's a lot what I hear. People can't find a job, all kinds of different scenarios for them.
Yeah, I guess that would be another question. Is the main reason that they fall behind on their child supports is because they've lost their job, or maybe they're just irresponsible, or is it a
I think it's a mix of both, really. The economy, it's not good. A lot of people, they can't find jobs, and some, they just simply
aren't
they
interested.
don't care and they don't pay it.
Yeah, rather just go to jail than pay
I
it.
think some would rather, actually go to jail than pay it.
Appreciate you being with
Yes,
us.
sir, no problem.
Well, we're almost out of time. I appreciate certainly you, the viewer and listener, joining us today. If you ever have any questions of me or anything going on within the Sheriff's Office, please give me a call. My office number is 740-652-7252. Again, that's 740-652-7252. Feel free to call. We get a lot of calls each and every day, and certainly always want to hear from you, the citizens throughout Fairfield County. Well, the clock on the wall says it's about time to go, and do appreciate all of you joining us today. If you're out there driving, buckle up. God bless, and we'll see you right here next week.
Ready to go?
Yeah, but the fire's not out.
It's close enough.
Close enough? If it's too hot to touch, it's too hot to leave. I mean, the next thing you know, you've torched our whole neighborhood.
Which is why we're not going anywhere.
Exactly.
9 out of 10 wildfires are caused by humans.
Only you can prevent wildfires.